I'm going to get you. Blockchain backers with us today. Just tell them what you just said right here.
I don't even remember.
He said, let's just start the show.
Let's start the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only blockchain backers with us. And listen, this is a very special day because he doesn't do interviews, but he was kind enough to sit with us. Blockchain backer, I really do appreciate you being here.
Brad, thank you for having me on and letting me voice the things that I want to voice here and have a conversation with me, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, man, I super appreciate it. And I tell you, and I've said this on my channel, and I just want you to know, I've said it to you at the conference, and I really do mean it. I had multiple conversations that were amazing, two of which stood out to me. One was with Adam from XRP Cafe, who's incredible. And the second one was with you. And it's been long overdue. And listen, I know that you and I talked about the real going on in this space, whether it's on X or whether it's in the YouTube world, specifically to Ripple and XRP. We talked about the need for resources and funding to developers. We're standing here looking at this backdrop of almost 700 people in a room for XRP Las Vegas, and we're both standing around going, there's got to be a way. We got to figure out a way to do this. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, it's been an interesting journey for me, right? And thinking about it, and thank you for having me on, right? And I don't do shows very often, and why am I deciding to do it now? And it's been really the reason why I even go to XRP Las Vegas or go to Australia for the Gold Coast or go to New York City for the proper party or consensus and all those things. And it's to kind of get my boots on the ground and get a feeling of everything that's going on and understanding really like what happened in 2021 in crypto, because it was so different from what happened in 2017, and trying to understand, what was so different about the market, and is XRP like in a good position moving into, if we end up getting it, if there does become an expansion in this market, are we in a good position here? I do a lot of charting on my channel, as you know, and I am very in the belief of, right, and not in the belief, it's just unequivocal data, in fact, that when the price of any of the cryptocurrency market moves, no matter what the asset is, it tends to all move together. It's one big liquidity flow throughout the whole market. And showing up to these conferences has been trying to figure out what were those things that made some assets go to new all-time highs in 2021 and some not. And that was a very different dynamic that we had in 2021 versus 2017, where, man, you just threw the darts at the wall and boom, 70x your portfolio on alt season 1 of 2017. Whereas in 2021, completely different story, right? Only 20% of assets went into new all-time highs. And so my journey of all of 2023 was being like, man, why? What the heck, man? Why did some stuff only retrace and some stuff, go off into new all-time highs? And it started on that journey. The first thing, I forgot, I even went to NFT Miami at the end of 2022, but then going to consensus and learning about developer activity by a company called Electric Capital. And that started me on this big journey of learning about doing cross data analysis of, is there a correlation between assets that have higher development activity and user activity levels and asset price performance? Is there a network effect that ends up happening? And on this journey of 2023 and traveling the world, came to the conclusion, because the data says it does, is that developing, building user activity levels are incredibly important for a network to gain value, is that there has to actually be participation on a network. And so, when the data, and I've come across, of course, we'll talk about that if you would like, I'm sure you do. We'll talk about the data, right? What's going on the XRP ledger? Is there user activity? Is there development activity? What's happening with builders? And trying to kind of, my goal of coming on here, man, is to just spread that message that these things are important, and that I'm probably going to get thrown to the wolves. I'll probably get eaten alive, and it, man. that, I'm going against the Ripple narrative and being like, these are the things that are important rather than focusing directly on Ripple. And that my goal of coming on here is to help promote people participating in the network on XRP and driving people to be curious about becoming a developer on the XRP ledger, to add new functions to the XRP ledger, to drive adoption, to drive builders, and to create a network effect and a flywheel. And, we even had this discussion, and you noticed it. I saw it in your video yesterday with XRP Adam that, you had David Schwartz at the XRP Las Vegas conference. And he was kind of funny, right, man? He sat there and he looked, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's super nervous, dude. He's not going to be able to oh my gosh, this is going to be ridiculously awkward. And then he stands up and he's like, hey, XRP, whatever he did. But anyway, he asked everybody, he said, hey, raise your hand if you have developed something on the XRP ledger. And like, I kind of like put my hand up and it was like oh my gosh, this is so awkward. Like in class, like somebody raises their hand, you follow the rest of the class and nobody wants to do it. Then he asked, hey, has anybody like participated or like interacted with the XRP ledger? And it was like less than 5% of the people raised their hands. And it was just like that reminder of being like, these are the numbers we also see on chain. We see that there's a lot of people who hold XRP. There's a lot of people who are interested in the success of XRP and the XRP ledger, but there's just not that much participation. And so the goal of me coming on here is to help increase that participation, get that narrative out and that story out to show why that's so important, and to talk about, increasing developers so we can actually increase the functionality of the ledger to bring the degens, man. bring the crazy people, dude. I mean,
Yes.
that's what you want, right?
Well, listen,
I'm sorry, dude. I just rambled for like 20 minutes.
it was amazing. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I didn't want to get in there because it was all
Yeah.
great. And I wanted you to explain to people where you're coming from. It was,
Yeah.
listen, that was a part of our conversation, which was really super great and so overdue, right? Things are so busy and there's a lot of people that want to get with you and talk to you and take pictures, and the same with myself and other people. And it's hard to, get that time where you and I could just talk, right? Because even while we were talking, and we're grateful for that. People want to come up and say hello and get a photo, but it is hard to get that time where the influencers can just rap and kind of get to a ground level. But you expressed some really cool things, and as you shared here today, and look, I have to say, look, this is a very real thing, right? This is a very real thing, and I feel like, that's why I've said, we are going for the same thing. We're not really off book from one another. We may be going at it to get to an end goal. Like you may have broke left and I broke right, but everybody's going for the same objective, because that end objective is regulatory clarity, legal clarity, and then it opens the door for everyone to be able to safely come onto the network without worrying about whether they're going to get in trouble. That's a part of it, I believe, but not all of it. Then there is funding, which we had a big conversation about, as you talked about and expressed. And I loved hearing your ideas and take on that from the observations. You have been traveling the world over the last year, and you have picked up a lot of key comments and things from people in that, on that side of things. And that stuff is not lost on me. I mean, I have seen what we've been able to do to harness and bring the community together of large part retail investors, speculators, right? And as with, if it's a gold market or an oil market or a silver market, every market has a few things that make it a healthy market: market makers, market participants, innovators, and speculators. And it was a reminder to me when David asked that question in there that we were full of retail investors and speculators and not builders and developers. Matter of fact, most of those people could have raised their hand if they had the Zaman wallet, because they have interacted with the ledger in that regard, but they don't even know that to raise their hand to it.
I'm like, guys, you haven't degened into an NFT. You haven't degened into a coin on the DEX, man. Come on.
Well, of course I have, you know, and I thought that too, but I also thought it recognized that gap, right? That understanding that these people in large part are here speculating about what they believe is coming. And I think where we get the most gunpowder is where we recognize that about that crowd and we understand that. And let's embrace them just like we embrace developers. Let's embrace them just like we embrace market makers and market participants, right? Because in order to have a healthy market, we need all of those things. We need the innovators to build that great idea that's going to tell a business owner, no, I'm using this today because I know exactly what problem it solves for me. And I know that I can use that today without going to jail or getting fined or whatever. That's why I think some of this is still an issue. But I want to point to the funding conversation here for a second, right? Because I recognize that in large part, most of the developers here are only able to get funding from one place, and that's RippleX. So it's my goal to try to work together I want to come up with some kind of way that we can come up with more resources for funding. Now, it'll be great if, and I don't know if they will, and I'm going to hopefully have a meeting with them, but if Ripple wants to contribute something to our initiative, that would be great. But that still brings the money back to one source, right? And what
Right.
I'm looking to do is open the avenue so we can create multiple sources and opportunities for revenue, because this speculative crowd isn't just speculative. They'll bet on their investments. And if they believe in you, in your project, they'll bet on you just the way they bet on somebody in Link2 or private equity, right? They'll
I
bet on those things.
Yeah, well, I think, we have to reiterate what the problem is here,
That's right.
right? So like you look throughout and like, again, it's gonna get me slaughtered for not for coming on here and speaking in this manner.
How dare you?
But remember, look at the hat, right? Look at the logo. Uh Again, all this traveling, all this stuff, the goal is not to come on here and upset people. It's to
Don't
just
kill the
set,
messenger. Yeah.
right, don't kill the messenger, right? When there's three things that kind of happen that are important for a flywheel, right? One is that there's actual real developers working on a network, right? This is a group of people, the developers who are building, and like, we'll just use XRP Ledger, working on the XRP Ledger to bring functionality to the ledger so that we can do more things. Then you have builders. These are guys who are creating businesses, they're creating NFTs, they're creating whatever, they're creating things that people use. And then you have the people who are using things and active participants in a network, right? So the more things that we have that we've developed, the more options that are there, then the more things that builders can build, and then the more things that users can use, right? So the predicament we're in right now is the total, like, to go back and talk about performance of assets, like when we're talking about the more development activity that there was in 2021, like if you look at the top 20 by development activity versus the top 20 by market cap in the 2021 bull run, development activity coins performed 3 times better than the top 20 by market cap, on average, with a median that was 2 times better. So we see a statistical importance on development activity and then on user activity levels. If you look right now in 2024, what are the 4 ecosystems that have the most total value locked on them right now? It's going to be Ethereum, Solana, Binance Coin, and Tron. All 4 of these coins have gone all the way back to their full retracements. So like, we not only saw it in 2021 that these factors are important, we're seeing it reiterated again here in 2021 that it's really important to have users, developers, builders, all these different things. And so we have like a multitude of issues of when it comes to actual number of developers working on chain to get things across the finish line, right? When it comes to giving capabilities on the ledger for us to have smart contracts, or for example, meme coins, right? I get it. Nobody likes meme coins. Yeah, sure you don't. Let's go check your wallet and see if you've got, we'll see what you're doing over there. But but the thing is, on the XRP ledger, like, we don't have the ability to like escrow meme coins. So like, there's this huge trust issue, unlike on Solana or like on Ethereum, where they can escrow it so you don't feel like you're just going to get rug pulled and pumped and dumped on when a coin gets created or something like that, because it can be locked away and escrowed. You can't do that on the XRP ledger, and you can't do this. So these just these functionality things that we're just missing over here. And so you look at the total number of like full-time developers on the XRP ledger, which was released by Developer Report. We're ranked at number 47. So there are 46 blockchains ahead of us, or ledgers protocols ahead of us, with more developers on them. And so that's already one thing. It's like, okay, let's answer this question first. Why do we have, top 10 by market cap asset here, but we can't get builders to build on it, right? So that answer is there not resources, right? So the thing I can at least do is point you into a resource, and that resource is easya.io. Not sponsored. I've never met these guys, but they are sponsoring Apex, right? Which is coming up very soon. They've got apps on there. They can teach you with the app how to develop and build on the XRP ledger. So hopefully it sparks people's interest. They want to learn how to develop on there. But we do, like, as a community, probably need to figure out the reason why. Why do people not want to build on the XRP ledger in particular? Next, you have builders, right? So that's what we were talking about, right? Like people wanting to build on the ledger. The problem with funding in the first place is Ripple promised, here we go. This is where I'm going to die.
They're coming to get you.
They're going to get me.
They're coming to get you.
2 years ago, Ripple promised to provide 1 billion XRP as grants, right, to builders. And of that, they've given $15 million over the course of 2 years. That is less than 1%. They've given away less than 1%. Now, the big argument is like, you shouldn't want free money, blah, blah, blah. The problem is when you go to places like Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, they all have these treasuries, right? They all have these foundations, and these things are designed to hand out free money, to promote crazy stuff to get thrown against the wall and see if it sticks. 99% of it's going to fail, but the idea of it is money getting thrown around, hoping that something does stick. And that is what takes place in all of these successful ecosystems, protocols, and communities. A lot of people thought we were going to get that when Ripple promised that billion XRP, and they haven't fulfilled their promise. And there's a lot of people upset about that. There's a lot of people who came in and started building on the ledger and thinking they were going to get some of that. If I'm going to put my effort in and I'm going to build on here, then there will be some funding to be able to support me, to be able to continue my business. That have been very tight with that. Yesterday, they did make an announcement that they're going to be a little bit more open about how they hand out those funds. So there was at least some discussion of that yesterday. But the reality is it needs to be called out. They have not paid out the money that they thought they would. There will be a tremendous amount of people who will be mad at me for saying that. But these are important things that happen on successful ledgers, is that they have treasuries or foundations that are there to provide grants in order for builders to be able to build. Ripple said they would do it. For some reason or another, they haven't. And so the answer to that needs to come on why can we not create a flywheel here? Why can we not get builders to build and users to use, right? And then, so that's the building problem. And the building thing is, I'm going to give some people some credit here and just kind of point out a couple of issues. And I'm not here to whine and complain the whole time, Brad. I got to do this.
You're sharing observations.
I got to do it, man. I've traveled the world, brother.
Sharing observations.
So much, like, for people who think, like, doing all these, like, this costing me a lot of money to do all this. I don't get paid to go do all this stuff, dude.
Right. Well, let me cut in.
I just want to say this last thing. I want to say this last thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
A lot, when it also comes to these builders, there's been a culture that is very difficult for anybody to build on the XRP ledger. That there's a group of a lot of people who like to call everybody a scam, and it's very difficult on these builders. And these people are working very hard, and you are right to suspect that there's a lot of scams in crypto. There are a ton of them. There are a ton of them. but there are people who are doing real things and they're trying and they're putting their life savings into these things and working really hard. And, you know, we drive them away. We really do. We drive them away tremendously by sitting there calling everybody a scammer who's putting a lot of money and time into their efforts. And I hope as a community we could do a little bit better of recognizing the people who are actually legitimately trying in this space and give them credit for what they're doing. I know XRP, the Standard Productions, you remember that guy posted all the time, right? You know, he's got his thing with Zerpa. You got or Zerk, you got him with Expector. You know, you got Daniel and with Casino Coin, right? And then, you know, you got XRP Labs and all that stuff. And these people are all trying really, really hard. And my hats are off to them because it's hard to succeed because there's not a lot of users on our chain. And I like I mentioned earlier about people not raising their hand to say that they've interacted with it, right? And it's true. Like not everybody is interacting with it. I mean, a lot of people are just speculators, right? You just buy the token and hope it goes up. But I think it's like important for us all to recognize that, you know, not just being like Ripple's going to pump my bags, but acknowledging what the data suggests is that developer activity, user activity levels are all really important, and we need to encourage users to participate in the network. We have NFTs on the XRP ledger. It's a ghost town, and it's not like that when you go to Ethereum, and it's not like that when you go to Solana. The total value locked on XRP is like $2 million, right? It's not like that when you go other places. So what is it that's holding us all back, right? What is it that's making us not want to participate? Is it a lack of knowledge? Is it a lack of knowing how to interact with the automatic market maker? Is it the lack of knowledge of downloading the Zaman wallet and speculating on a monkey? You know, on an NFT, right? I don't know, but my hope and my goal of coming on here is not to sit here and whine and complain and say everything is wrong. It's to come on here and say there's opportunity if we can work together as a community to try to fix some of the things that we have. And I know that Ethereum and they you know, there's a lot of pain in there from the past, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. We have been through a lot as a community. And Brad, you know what? I've been here through the whole ride, man. All the trash. It's all we have had to go through. I've been here through all of it. And there's a lot of hurt that is carried from that. But I do encourage Brad, like you and I started for the beginning of this thing of, you know, being in a, they didn't get to see that conversation that we had, being
It was
in
a great conversation.
a state of gratitude in life, and to try to move forward and not have the resentments that we have, and do like and try to build relationships and friendships with other chains and take their devs. You know, like I don't
Take their
know.
devs. I love it. Well, you know,
You know
that's
what I mean,
hilarious.
bro?
Well, I mean, look, that's exactly what the Ripple stablecoin can do, right? I mean, we're going to launch here soon on Ethereum and the XRP ledger. I think, you know, these things that I see happening, you know, look, I mean, none of us can know what's really going to set that thing in motion, right? It is going to be someone's great idea. Someone gets traction, someone gets a little bit of the funding they need, they attract some other larger player that sees the problem they're solving, and then things really start to take. And then there's the ideas that come to solve problems within problems that launch other companies. And this is how it starts to happen in spurts. And, you know, I know this from, you know, my own entrepreneurial journey and my life and things of that nature. And listen, you know, not everything is a scam out here. You're absolutely right. That is absolutely the truth. And it's hard to know that because some of the influencers out here have pumped projects without disclosing what they've had pre-sales to, what they've held before or got early sale or things of that nature. We've been all damaged by the Phoenix Fire token scam. That was a very real event that took place, and it was predatory. And look, I only say those
It should be noted though that had nothing to do with XRP, right? That wasn't on the
It was
XRP
just, it was
ledger.
preyed on the community, right? It was predatory on the community. And the reason I bring that up is because that is it. Look, being in this space and being an early speculator in this
And
space.
let me say this too, so people do learn their lesson from understanding that. I've been in crypto for a long time. That was a node thing, right?
Yes, yes, it
Right.
was.
It was Node Life. I remember the first ever interview I ever did with somebody on camera as I gave it to the guys, Chip and Jeff from On the Chain. And they asked me, they said, what do you think of Node Life? And I had actually already gone through node life in 2018. And it was ironic that it showed up in 2022 because it was just like 2018. Nodes are by design going to always go to zero. It doesn't matter what it is. That's where they're always going to go because of the supply dynamics. If you're printing free money, it's too good to be true. So just know that moving forward with
Yes.
nodes, they always go to zero. Learn the
I,
lesson.
I think that's such a valid point too, BCB, because, that is the danger, right? Is that, someone in the audience, even though you may have won, someone else may have won as an influencer or something, it's the person that's in your audience that's going to get burnt and holding the bag at some point. And that's where it gets tough. And I just say that only to point out that, look, being a speculator in this space or even a builder in this space, you're still speculating that this technology is going to be for good for whatever your ideas are, whether you're on the investment side or on the building side. And that's dangerous enough for all of us. There is a risk just being in this space, whether you're a builder, developer, or a speculator, you're risking being in this space because it's so unclear about where all of this is going. I think we all know ultimately it's going to be integrated into our world, our daily lives. None of us know when exactly, right? But obviously, to that point, the sooner we can get regulatory clarity, legal clarity, and get the stable coin launched here on the Ethereum and the XRP ledger, these things start to open up a flow that allow for the businesses to say, I can be here every day. They have a stable coin. I can easily get in and out of the market now for my business. All I need is the whatever their regulator is in their particular business to okay them to bring this technology in. So it's like, it is tough because we're all, I think, stuck between the chicken and an egg. I don't think it's just the builders and the developers that are stuck. I think it's all of us that are stuck. And to a great degree, Ripple's still stuck because they still have a leg of this case that's hanging over their head. And I cannot speak for Ripple. I do not speak for Ripple. I am
Me either.
not speaking for
I
Ripple.
am not paid by Ripple.
And I am not
Ripple,
paid.
give the money to the builders.
That's right. I am not being paid by Ripple. You know what I mean? So, and have never been paid by Ripple. So my channel is just one crazy guy who believes in all of this and has always believed in all of this because I saw the Federal Reserve connection back in 2017 and I understood that it'll take a while, but this is going to be integrated into our financial system ultimately. And the sooner we can bring that young entrepreneur, that young person with the idea into this space to pursue whatever it is. Look, it's somebody, right? There's the next, people don't believe it, but the next Jeff Bezos is out here, right? He's doing something, right? The next YouTube is out here, the next Amazon, the next Google, it's all out here. People don't believe it because these behemoths are here and they've been here now for 20 years. But the reality is, it's out here and there will be more of these to come because all of this is cyclical when you bring in new innovation and technology.
Yeah. Well, the thing I hope, and I'm hoping is that we don't do, is sit back and continue to wait.
Yeah.
We can be active. We can, as especially you, me, people that I know, people that can try to encourage people to go figure it out. If you're a developer and you wanted to see, hey, what's it like to develop on the XRP ledger? Maybe you can come up with a cool new function, right?
That's right.
Or, if you haven't gone and bought a monkey JPEG yet, just go speculate on a monkey JPEG. It's probably going to zero, dude. But you know what, man? That's part of the interaction and that's part of the learning curve and getting familiar with just playing with the ledger, which then gives you the ability to not be so intimidated to maybe move to the automatic market maker or things like that, where you can speculate as well, right? And again, not financial advice. You could lose all of your money. But it's important that we encourage people to take action now. And I do understand. And hopefully, Brad, I hope you're right, man. I hope those things happen and regulations come out and and stablecoin stuff does all kinds of things. But the things that we can do today is to encourage people to go learn how to develop on the ledger, get in contacts with people, jump into the Discord. If you're a viewer who's just a user, if you haven't downloaded the Zaman wallet yet, go download the Zaman wallet and go play around and just feel it out, man. See if you like it. And Ripple, give the money.
Well, you know what's funny about this is that half of your group that you know is going to beat you up for this, and then half of my group's going to beat you.
Oh my gosh,
you and I are going to get destroyed for this on both ends.
Dude, yesterday it's like, are you giving up on XRP? It's like, dude, I have been preaching this message for 8 months, showing you the data. Get it, God.
I know. Look, I mean, none of us can know exactly what's all going to say.
No, and it should be clear. What do we all want? We all want it to succeed. We all have different visions on how it gets there. 100%. I'm coming from the approach of saying, look, this is what the data suggests.
Yeah.
So as a community, hey, it would be cool if we like looked at that data and took it kind of serious, right? Then, everybody could speculate and do whatever the hell they want. I don't normally swear on my channel, but I did that. But
it was just hell. It wasn't bad. And you were on my channel. Technically, it's fine.
Okay. But
bigger sandbox here.
Yeah, man. We all want success, right? We all want it to succeed. And I'm providing some insight into some data that was important in 2021 for those assets that did succeed.
Yes.
And so we can, a community can accept that data and try to encourage and promote the improvement of that data or not. But I think I'm putting myself out there.
Yeah, and I think it's important to put inside that data where regulatory clarity is and isn't, and whether there's a case still hanging over a company's head. And again, I can't speak for Ripple. These are my speculative thoughts, just observing, as you've done that, thank goodness they didn't move forward on a stable coin, or they might be partnered with the Secret Service and the FBI right now, like Tether is, right? Thank goodness they didn't move forward on smart contracts, or they might be staring down more legal issues like Ethereum currently is right now. Thank goodness they didn't do proof of stake, because now that is the issue in front of Ethereum at this point. So there's a lot of things that I'm not sure whether they happen, by a direct choice or by just, thank God we didn't do those things by accident. I don't know, but I hope ultimately that when we get this stablecoin bill, it's not going to do things just for Ripple. It's going to help the entire space. And I think broadly, that's exactly what we need, right? It's going to open the door to say, yes, you can come build your idea here, and you don't have to worry about getting sued 18 months from now after you've given your life to this, your kids' college fund. Because I know what it's like to be an entrepreneur. I've put everything into my own ideas, right? My wife and I are entrepreneurs and bootstrap these Las Vegas events ourselves, right? It's like I sit back and I say to her, like, Jesus, we could have bought 2 beautiful homes. Like, I mean, what the hell are we doing here? It literally in the middle of it all, you're like, but look, I believe in this. We believe where this is going. I'm not a developer and software builder, and I'm
not either.
And I'm never going to be, but I support them. And this is the way that I can support them. This is the way that I can bring the people that I've touched and build a relationship with in front of them. And if they have something that they can pitch that solves a real problem, that is believable to solve that real problem, to get others to believe in what they're doing, you're going to find the resources and funding, and that may have something to do with me. It may not. Honestly, I just want to be able to bring that conduit together. And whether that looks like grant money or whether it ends up being some Shark Tank style pitch event where you got to cough up a bit of your equity or something, it's a big boy world out here. I'll let the grownups figure that out, because if they need funding, they'll figure it out. And if somebody believes they got a problem that they're really solving, they're going to cough up the money to make sure that those people have it so they can win together. And ultimately, that's what you and I are doing here today. We're talking so we can squash this narrative that there's 2 different communities. There isn't. There's one. And everything that's happening is happening to all of us. Now, the builders and stuff, they need funding, and that's for sure.
And they need support. They
And
need to not be called scammers.
yeah.
You know?
Well, I don't think they're called scammers. I know whenever I
on Twitter. Oh no, I'm talking on Twitter.
Yeah, because
I know when it's assault. It's full blown assault.
Yeah, because I know when I go on there, you know, it's absolutely like there are some out here, and you've got to be extra careful at what you sort through.
Yeah,
but you know what? That's like when you're going through crypto market cap. You got to be careful.
Absolutely.
You know, we all got to kind of identify like, hey, this thing says it's like for hot dogs. It's not good, right? This isn't solving a problem, you know? So, you know, I think we all have pretty much developed like a pretty discerning eye to the things we're looking for that have a chance to survive and make it in the future, right? But listen, as far as X goes, it's a cesspool out there, brother. I mean, hard.
You know what, when you approached me at XRP Las Vegas, the thing was you had mentioned a tweet that I had done.
Yes, it was a great tweet.
Yeah, but the thing about the tweet too was I wish I could remember what I even said in the tweet. What did I say?
It was about the gap. You recognize a gap in the community.
Yeah, well, there's a gap in multiple places, right? I mean, because you have you know, a lot of people who think, you know, Ripple's going to be the savior and going to pump the bags to the moon, and then you got the other people focusing on, no, we got to build stuff. But here it is. There is a gap that needs to be filled for epic culture and energy on XRP. There are people who want it, and we need someone to lead it. And another way to also is that we are way too dang serious. Did you see that video of Trump getting asked the question about crypto recently? Yes. And the guy wearing the Mog glasses.
Yes.
Like
and he called him Goggles. It was hilarious.
Goggles. Yeah. You know who that guy is? Those guys are the gods guys. So they have like NFTs, but they're like a total culture of like craziness over there. We need that here. Somebody create it. I will join. I will go by. I will be a part of your crazy community because there is a gap here of also fun. Where the heck is the fun, dude? It is way too serious around here in every way. Somebody create some fun, please. Let's have some fun.
No, I listen, BCB. And speaking of fun, let's talk about a little fun right now. So you and I have this drummer thing going on, and it's super cool.
I want to see you play it, bro.
Dude, it's No Apologies by, and you said it was Papa Roach.
There you go, man.
Papa Roach. Okay, well, that's going to happen. I'm preparing. I have a show this weekend that I'm doing. It's like a blues, classic rock blues gig. And then after that, I have a master clinic coming up for some kids at a music school. And then I'm going to tackle the Papa Roach No Apologies. I wrote it on my phone.
If you do it, and if you crush it, I will learn it.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
The hype bar has been set.
All right, man.
I will crush it, and
you know you got to give it the performance energy. I don't want the technical.
I want the headbang and the
and you know how to do it. You know how to do it.
Yeah.
To throw the show, you gotta act it too. You gotta throw it on.
You know what? You make a fantastic point. There is the execution of something, and there is the performance. Of something. There needs to be the performance quality along with the execution of the part of the
correct. Yeah, you got it. Yeah,
I'm gonna bring the heat for you.
I did.
Blockchain backer.
Thanks for having me.
Drummer extraordinaire and obviously chart extraordinaire. Listen, man, you do a lot for the community. It was so great to connect with you. And you know, I wish we could have recorded that conversation for everybody to hear because it was fantastic. I mean, it was just so great to connect with you. It's always hard to do anyway because we're all spending time with family and our channels. But man, it was a fantastic time to see you and connect. And we're going to continue to build this bridge. Doesn't matter who beats us up. You know, I mean, it's what we're doing.
All right, brother.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, man.
All right, bye.
Bye.